What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa, and I would say Justine is here with me, but she's not today, but we'll get into that in a bit. If you're new here, this is the show that showcases the importance of music and mental health. Justine and I would also really appreciate it if you are liking the show to leave a positive rating or review on any app you are currently listening to this right now. We would really appreciate it, and we appreciate anyone that has already done so. Today is a little different, like I said. I really wanted to cover New Found Glory because I not only love them and adore them, but they're just a huge part of my personal musical journey, the journey into pop punk and just beyond. And their record Catalyst is turning 20 in May, which is insane to think about. They just announced this killer tour with Sincere Engineer. Can't wait to go to that. If you're going to the Asbury Park date in New Jersey, I will see you there. Hope you got your tickets because this one's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for that. So, to be honest, we skipped over this one in the 20-year episodes because I just felt this one needed a separate kind of episode dedicated to them. And to be honest, Justine just is not a fan, and that's okay. That's going to happen. She has bands that she adores that I'm like, I didn't really get into. So we thought the next best thing to give them a proper episode was to bring on my longtime friend and NFG fanatic, Jason. We go way back, almost 20 years. He adores this band, and Justine pushed for this too. I couldn't have picked a better person to do an episode like this, and I'm so thankful Jason was down for it, and we got this killer episode. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as we did creating it, but let's just get into it. Here's our episode highlighting the one, the only, one of the best to ever do it in the pop punk genre. We're talking New Found Glory. So, obviously, for anyone listening, Justine is not here, but that's because she is not a New Found Glory fan. But I have the next best thing. Right on, God, I want to say it's almost 20 years. I think it was 2005 we met. So I think we're going on almost 20 years of friendship. My friend Jason is here. You could say hi. You could do whatever you want to do.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Super fan of New Found Glory. No one else I could have had on to do this one with. I have not done New Found Glory, and people have been giving me a hard time about it because I love this band. Haven't done it, but Justine gave me the go ahead. So we're talking New Found Glory. We're talking Catalyst. Tour just announced. Jason, what are your thoughts on this? Are you excited about this tour?
Oh yeah, this album is not only one of their top albums, but this is, I think, an album that really put them on the map and really gave them an audience that I don't think that they would have had keeping up with the exposure that it brought to them. I mean, I was in high school and it came out, and I remember riding my bike from high school after class to the local Best Buy, which was a good hour or so bike ride away, to pick up the CD. And I had a Walkman, put it in my portable CD Walkman, rode home with headphones on my bike, listening to All Downhill from Here, and it hasn't stopped. I haven't stopped loving them since the day I found out about them, and I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, no, this record, I think it's weird because I saw some people when this was posted, this tour, or just even about Catalyst, oh, well, Sticks and Stones is better. Look, you can debate that all day, but I think Catalyst was that record that also, like, they had, like, I Don't Wanna Know. Like, they had the slower edge to them too, but, like, it just sounds heavier, and it didn't sound as much just like, "Oh, this is a pop punk record." Like, there was so much to this record. I remember I went to Sam Goody. I got the
Oh
CD.
yeah,
I was in love with the album cover because it was just so different. I was like, "What is this? It's all animated or whatever." And then it
yeah.
took me a while to realize, like, "Oh, it's them, but, like, animated." But they're just literally, like, this record just made me fall deeper in love with New Found Glory. If there was, like, a tier list of, like, list your records, this is
Yeah.
up there. And I know, like, we were already talking a little off camera, like, catching up, but I think this one, it it just is one of those records that some of these younger kids, this was their first New Found Glory experience.
Yeah,
The fact that this thing's gonna be 20 years
I
is
know. I
just
mean,
insane.
look at their openers, the singer engineer. I mean, they
Oh,
keep posting about the singer. He has
Deanna, oh my
the
god.
Catalyst Newfound Glory shirt on it. So, it's giving kids the opportunity. It's giving, well, as they would more be adults now, and some of them might even be introducing their kids to this album for the first time. I think that's one of the coolest things about being such a heavy New Found Glory fan is growing up with them and seeing people that I went to shows with, people that I've seen at shows, bring their kids. You know, they're married, they don't go to shows as much, but when New Found Glory comes around, it's like that one group you just have to go see because you know you're gonna have a good time. And it's just awesome that this album, like you said, coming out, you had your slower, you had, you know, your more melodic, you know, fun love songs.
Mhm.
I like to think of Coming Home as like just their love for everything, but then you go back to your roots and you put out an album like this, and even on a major label. I mean, not a lot of
Yeah.
major labels wanted to put that stuff out there. I mean, there was the whole like major label emo boom, that kind of came around. You know, my cam did major label, whatever it may be, but Newfound, they went back to what they knew and it worked out for them. Obviously, being around for 27, 28, you going on 28 years now,
Yeah.
and it's just awesome to see that they're still pumping out these songs and keeping to their style and keeping to what they know, even trying to change some things. You know, look at Radio Surgery. That was a
Mhm.
whole different style for them. Wasn't their best.
No.
Um, and I feel like that album, they realized it and they just kind of pushed it away. And I feel like a lot of the Sticks and Stones 20-year, 10-year, self-titled 10-year, you know, those kind of came at the right time to save them in a sense.
Yeah.
But Radio Surgery had its one or two hits here and there, but eh, you don't really hear much of it live. You go back to your old school, you know. I mean, they end their shows with Catalyst. They start their shows sometimes with Catalyst stuff. So it just shows that they can book in stuff, mix everything together.
Yeah, and I know, like, when I was looking into this record too, like, hearing Chad talk about it and, like, for anyone listening that doesn't know, obviously Chad Gilbert of New Found Glory, I don't know, I feel like if anyone clicked on this, they know New Found Glory, or maybe not. But, like, Chad was saying they had a lot of pressure after Sticks and Stones. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna and they ended up with this record that I feel just was so massive, and I think about the records that came out in this year's. You had My Chem, you had Say Anything, what else? I'm trying to think of everything we covered. Alexis on Fire, The
Under
Used,
Oath.
Under Oath, and
Yeah.
then you had this record. So it's like Taking Back Sunday. God, I guess I could name them all, but I just feel like this one stood out, and I remember, like, this was one of the bands on that year Warped Tour going to see New Found Glory the summer this was released, and they were just, like, the band to go see. Like, I just feel it's just so good. It's just so good. And I gotta know, like, what are your favorites on this record? Because I know you're gonna tell me I'm wrong when I share mine, but, like, what what are your favorite New Found Glory tracks?
From this record
Yeah,
or
from
in
this one. Yeah,
general?
we'll ask you in general later, but on this record, if you're gonna pick some.
I think one of the coolest things with Newfound Glory is no matter what set list they can get into and no matter which way they can put their songs together, I feel that you got that such powerful intro,
Mhm.
and you're hearing that rise of the guitar and you're hearing the game vocals and everything. That if that doesn't pump you up as much as Understatement does, I go back and listen to it again, because that will get anybody going. And when they hit that, on this tour coming up,
Oh god.
the place is gonna lose it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but about 5 6 years ago or so, they did those two album a night shows where they did the span of the first half of their
Yes.
life,
Yes.
of their career. And when they did the Catalyst nights, it was so awesome because they did it in this. I was living in San Francisco when they did these, and they did Catalyst one of the nights, and the little venue that they played at was just placed. Rest in peace, Slims, San Francisco.
Mhm.
But it just reminded me a lot of like Beat Kitchen, you know,
Oh,
that
wow. So
small
that's
little
small.
tiny place. I mean, it's not that small, but the energy that you get at those Beat Kitchen shows
Mhm.
were just awesome. Or even the Metro. Being the Metro is a big place, but still it has that feel of those club shows. And I felt that Slim's was a perfect place for them to do that at. to play those shows. But man, when that Catalyst album hit, it was so much fun.
Oh,
But I mean, you always get the all downhill from here. You can't, you can't say anything like that. But then you
yeah.
got some of your, your hits like I don't want to know, Truth of My Youth. I do have a little soft spot for Failures Not Flattering due to the show at the House of Blues a couple years ago, because it was my 100th time seeing them at this show, and it was 2 nights. I want to say it was like 4 years ago, and they were pulling people from the crowd to come up and sing a song with them. And they ended up pulling me because they knew, favorite
Yeah.
band. I'll do almost anything they ask.
Mhm.
Oh, I get to go sing a song with them. Why not? But I just remember getting pulled on stage, and I don't have the best hearing. I don't wear hair plugs. I don't wear anything.
No,
And
same.
I get pulled up on stage, and Chad is trying to tell me we're playing Failure Not Flattering. I'm going, what? And he goes, he tells me again. I'm like, I'm just gonna have Jordan tell me what to do. And he's like, okay, okay. So I go out there, and looking out into that crowd of a Newfound Glory crowd was just amazing. Like I mentioned, seeing the kids that grew up with them, bringing their kids that are going to grow up on them. It's like
Mhm.
your parents introducing you to Bon Jovi
Mhm.
or anything that they loved back in the day, and you grow into a fan of that. That's what this is. And but Failure's Not Flattering probably became top song for me just because of that moment. Because I got to live out a dream of being in Newfound Glory for 2.5 minutes.
Didn't you years ago, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. There was a time they played obviously like Metro in Chicago for anyone listening. So I'm talking about this awesome venue. Didn't you, or maybe it was November, October. I remember they played 2 nights. Didn't you get pulled up on stage there too? Like to play bass or something?
Oh, yeah, that
Like
yeah,
yeah.
that's bad memories, Lisa.
Oh,
I
sorry.
forgot how to play the song when I got up there. And
I foresee.
I think Chad yelled at me, but it was the joke. There's always some joke that they have in a tour. I don't think it happens as much anymore. But the joke was you make a sign that says I want to play a song. And usually you put the song on there. I practiced for weeks leading up to this one, learning how to play hit or miss on the guitar. Well, it wasn't a hit. It was surely a miss. And Chad made me very nervous because I forgot how to play the song. And I'm just happy that the band knows their stuff very well, because my guitar playing that day was also the retirement of my guitar playing that day. It was fun, but it was also very frightening.
Yeah.
So I redeemed myself well enough by making Chicago proud, I guess, if you want to call it, and singing Failure's Not Flattering.
The no, I think that's what's so fun about that band is they always wanna include their fans and do stuff and just I don't know, but, like, for me, I mean, I'm with you, I have a lot of the same, like, I wrote them down because 'cause I'm like, "I'm gonna forget," like, everyone laughs at me because I'm like, "Oh, track 2, track 3." No, like, I know these titles. Truth of My Youth is, like, my number 1 because
Yeah.
it just every time it plays, every time I've heard it, it just is so incredible. I love this song. Failure's Not Flattering is on my list because I love that one so much. I love the music video too, and I remember, like, being younger and seeing that music video and just putting 2 and 2 together. At least I'm known for something. That one just hits. I don't know a lot of people that like that one, but it's very, very good. I Kill to Fall Asleep, of
Yep.
course. Doubtful, I Don't Wanna Know,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt that gave me I don't know, it was just different Newfound Glory, and, like, they have had slower songs in the past, like, I mean, obviously, like, what Sunny? Sunny is a
Mm-hmm.
slower one, and I just think that or even the story so far has those slow notes, but this one just I don't know, and I know a lot of them, I think at the time were, like, getting married, in love, whatever it was. I don't know, there's something about it again, the music video too. I think that's what it was too, and I was just that kid that loved their music videos and
Yeah.
in love with Newfound Glory, so
Yeah.
I
But
can't.
then you gotta think, if they've got to play. I know the upcoming tour has that the VIP packages, and one of
Mhm.
the perks of it is getting a B-side acoustic
Yes.
set. So definitely they're gonna play, and I'm gonna slaughter this name. Radio Adelaide,
Adelaide,
Adelaide, yeah.
Adelaide, yeah.
And they need to play that live. It's
Mhm.
just that one song that never gets played anywhere, and people beg for it, and they just want it. And it was also a song they didn't play when they did that, the
No.
Catalyst night with one of the
Oh.
other albums. But I feel like being that they only have one opener for this tour,
Mhm.
um, we're gonna get something very very special, and especially with the situation that they're going through right now too. They're gonna try to make as much as they can as special as they can, because right now it's a pleasure and a joy, and to be lucky to have them keep going too.
Oh, I and that's the thing, like, I was talking about those shows they did because I went to that one here in Jersey when they did the 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember just talking to G about that and that this band literally was on stage to play these sets, did not miss a beat, and they've never left. They've never taken a hiatus. They've never and even when Chad needed to take a break for his health, and I'm glad he's gonna try this tour. I'm glad he's doing it this way, and fans are kind of at first they were a little rude, like, "You're not coming to my town." But then, like, Chad had to explain, like, "This is my new normal. This is what we do. This is how we do it to fit me." But it's just like their longevity, the fact that they literally have always done it and they have so much energy. And I mean, I was talking to you too about off camera about how a lot of people Blink 182 is their literal, that's my pop punk. And yes, I loved Blink. I'm not going to lie. Enema of the State, all that, take off your pants. But for me, literally, it was this band that got
Yeah.
me in love with pop punk. When I think about what did I become obsessed with, what really like what was pop punk, it was this band. 1,000%. And I became obsessed with them. And I actually found them, it was like MTV Made. I don't know if you remember that. But they were on it, and people
Yeah.
forget, and they were on it. There was a girl who, like, Heartbreak or whatever, she loved Hit or Miss, and she wanted to learn it. So they bring New Found Glory in, they come in, they teach her Hit or Miss on the bass, or I don't even I think it was bass, but they teach her, and it was a whole ordeal, and I was like, "What is this song? Like, what is Hit or Miss?" And I remember being, like, 8th grader and just obsessed then with New Found Glory then, but this is what has taken me and then made me fall in love with all these pop punk bands. Without New Found Glory, like and I know it's, like, a controversial thing to say, but, like, I would favor, like, this band on a tier list above Blink, live show, just everything, like, I'm going New Found Glory, and I don't haters can come in the comments, I know they will, but, like, I just 1,000%.
Well, yeah, and I could agree with that. We were talking
Yeah.
earlier. It's just you see a new film glory show, and it's way more memorable.
Mhm.
Um, I've seen Blink 2 times or so. And both time, well, the first time was actually with New Phone Glory because I went to see New Phone Glory. It was the Honda Civic, maybe. It was, yeah, where it was like Newfound Good Charlotte, almost like Green
Oh
Day.
my god, yes, Good Charlotte, my loves.
The movie Life, I want to say, was on there. I'm
What?
probably getting this whole tour wrong, but I just remember
Still love
Newfound Glory was there, and I sat in the very last row of the arena that it was in.
Yeah.
And this arena is no arena by any means. It's very small, and I just remember like wanting to leave after Newfound because it was like all I came for. And then I saw Blink again, and it just wasn't as memorable.
No.
But you asked me about a Newfound Glory show, and I could tell you everything that happened.
Mhm.
And I mean, just this summer, same kind of thing. They were just out with All American Rejects, the Get Up Kids,
Yeah.
Motion City soundtrack. That was our four that we got. I know East Coast got Starting Line instead of Motion City,
Yep.
but I just remember I didn't stay for All American Rejects because to me, New Found Glory was the headliner.
Mhm.
And I went to 5 of those shows, and I left every night after New Found Glory because to me the show was over. I think I stayed once to watch All Mega Rejects play like Swing Swing because it was the first song.
Well,
I was
yeah, you
like,
gotta hear it.
get it out of there. And then I was like, okay, cool. I got my nostalgia. Let's take
Mhm.
off.
No,
But
for
I went
sure.
all up and down the West Coast for that. And that's usually what I do for Newfound Glory shows because that band has done so much for me over the years. Speaking of doing so much for me over the years, I'll share a quick story.
Yeah.
Um, it was one of the last times they were on Warp Tour, like full time on Warp Tour, and I was leaving. I was living in Atlanta, and I was leaving after the Atlanta date to go meet up with my friends that were on the tour, and to help them sell merch and everything. But it was mostly my cool plot to go watch New Found Glory play every day. And I got a call that my grandfather passed away,
Oh,
and I
man.
was like it was a shock because like we knew he was sick, we knew all these things, but we didn't know when it was going to happen. And I told my mom, I was like, okay, well, I will come home. And she's like, no, you're gonna go see your friends. We don't have everything ready yet. You know, he just passed away like 2 hours ago. And she goes, isn't this your weekend that you're going to leave for Warp Tour to go, watch your band? I was like, yeah. And but I'll come home and help the family stuff. She goes, no, I know you'll need this to go out with everyone.
Mhm.
So we went down to Orlando, which was the next date, and I was planned to do Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, and then there was a day off, and I was going to fly out of like South Carolina or something to go home. That was the idea, and so we went down. I ran into Cyrus that morning in Orlando, and I told him what happened, and he was like, "Make sure you come over to our set. We'll come up and watch and everything." And they ended up playing Sunny because to my
Mm.
recollection, Jordan wrote Sunny about his grandfather passing.
Yeah.
And that was such a big moment because you see this band so many times, and you see them in so many places, and sometimes you don't think like, oh, do they remember me? Oh, is this making any type of impact, or are you just a fan to them? And I had talked to them so many times before, and I would call them friends, but it was a different thing at that moment because as little as they knew of my family, the fact that they added a song, being that Warped Tour is such a tight set list,
Yeah.
just to do something for someone that was in need of it. And it was such a different set at that time. And then they go into hit or miss, and it's like all the worries go away and everyone just goes
Mhm.
nuts again. But it was like, they do stuff for fans like that, and everything that comes along with it. So I will, if Cyrus, if you are listening, thank you very much for that day. And yeah, just going off of everything that they've done and how this impacts their fan base and continues to keep it growing, to keep them going for 27, 8 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can relate to that too. I mean, on a different level, like they've always been great. Like there was a time, I forget what show, I think they were playing a Subterranean in Chicago, which is this tiny venue for anyone listening. And it was gonna be with Dashboard and them, and it was acoustic. And I went to it. I didn't get a ticket, obviously. And I remember just tweeting at Chad, like, you know, are commenting like, "Oh, I didn't get a ticket." I don't know what it was. It wasn't like, "Hey, get me in." Immediately, I have a DM, "Hey, do you wanna get in? I'll put you on. I can't do guest list, but I'll get you in." Or, like, "I can't, like, give you a +1." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay, no worries, like, I'll go." Literally got me in, was so kind, and afterwards, like, we were just talking because I went through, like, a really bad breakup, and I was really, like, needing that, and I mean, again, it sounds, like, stupid, and someone's gonna say, "Oh, whatever," but he was like, "Oh, well, your boyfriend's a dick, don't worry about it." Like, there's something stupid, but, like, the fact that he took the time to care and, like, listen
yeah,
and was like, "Hey, how are you?" And, like, he's never known my name, but they definitely know your like, at least me, they know my face. Like,
yeah.
anytime I've seen them play, because I've seen them play, I don't know, I'm up there. I'm not at, like, 100, but I am up there. I'm, like,
Well,
in
you got
the
to catch
80s.
up.
I gotta catch up, but I'm in the 80s, but, like, they're just I think and there's so many fans that have shared a story about that, which is why, like, seeing Chad go through everything he is with his
Yeah,
health right now, it's hitting so many people because literally as much as I don't know Chad personally, he's not like a friend, but I feel like they are. I feel like these
yeah.
guys are my friends because through music, they're my friends, and so seeing that and I'm even gonna get a little emotional seeing him up there on this tour, like, holy shit, like, he's up here on this tour celebrating 20 years of Catalyst and just I I just adore this band. I just love them, and I think that it's like you said, like, people are coming back. They're bringing their kids, and I'm so excited for Sincere Engineer to be on this tour because seeing Deanna post that photo, and they're so great. They're from Chicago, and I just adore that band. And to have that moment, I can't wait. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing is they always bring these bands that
mm-hmm,
people are fans of, but the people such a small blip on the fan scale of how much they are fans of. But then you get them out on these tours and they grow into a couple months later having their own bigger tour, having their own. I mean, look at these small bands that they used to take out back in the day, the Wonder Years, this time
mm-hmm,
next year, the Story So Far. i
yeah,
i don't know if they did a tour with All Time Low, but
but their names,
All Time Low.
mm-hmm,
And I joke that they take these small bands out there because now these bands are so big.
yeah,
And it's just giving back. It's like watching your music child grow up to be these big bands. And I mean, look at the Wonder Years, they're still going, they're still pushing. I mean, they just did the first two album anniversary tours. I think it was like 10 years of them or something, and I used to
mm-hmm,
see them in tiny little shoebox venues.
yeah,
And then I see them with Newfound Glory, and it was one of the coolest pop punk not dead tours ever.
mm-hmm.
um so much fun. We could go on forever
Oh,
talking
oh,
about this stuff. Yeah.
oh my God. And like I have to share a memory too with you, Find Glory is I don't know if you remember this, but you're a reason why I don't have a drumstick today. Do you remember?
Probably not. What
Okay. All right. So
did
I'll set
was
the
it
scene.
did I steal it from you? Did I
No,
whack your arm
well,
away?
no. So honestly, a former friend of mine, um, we were in the crowd and it was God, I don't remember. Maybe it was the tour after like Coming Home came out. I don't know, but it was at the House of Blues. I remember that. But so Newfound Glory was there, and I remember I didn't have a sign or no one had a sign, but Cyrus goes to throw the drumstick out. So I put my hand up like this, had the back of the stick, and I had it, but somebody behind me grabbed it. So I'm being yanked back. So my friend at the time grabbed the other part of the stick. And so literally yanked backwards for the stick. I'm not letting go because it's Newfound Glory. I got a drumstick. I'm not letting go. But literally because of that, the floor is all wet, drinks are flowing, whatever. Anyways, on the floor, literally across the thing, not dragging each other, but literally dragging each other at the same time. I mean, I guess it was across the House of Blues. And I don't know where you were, but you were somewhere in the crowd and you were like, security, security, because you see me. But, anyways, so we're over there. You're like, security, security, security. And I was like, shit, because now the security is involved. So rather than me just try and yank on this stick, because it was my drumstick in my mind, it's mine. I was going to split it with Jess, just split it. So then we go ahead, and because of security, we had to do rock, paper, scissors, and I lost.
Was it against me?
No, it
Oh.
was against the girl. And
Oh, so I was just the big baby yelling for security
exactly,
because I didn't want little Lisa Lou to get beat up.
that's exactly what it was. And
Okay.
but I laughed, and then the tour after, I had a sign like, "Hey, I need a drumstick. I got cheated. I forget what I wrote or whatever." I didn't get that, but I got guitar picks. So you know what? It's whatever. Chad
And
hooked it
you
up.
got a lifetime of memories.
Exactly. But
Is
that
that
memory,
is that
that's
better
the
than
count.
any little piece of wood that some guy probably didn't play or break the drumstick with?
Whatever. I wanted it. I mean, I have so many drumsticks. I have some from like Fall Out Boy that like I ended up like tossing, right? Like, because what does it mean? But at that
Yeah,
moment, I wanted that drumstick. I was like, oh. And I remember people in the crowd were like, you're a mean person. I'm like, I'm not mean. Like, I
you're
literally,
the worst.
I wanted this, but love Newfound Glory. But I mean, I guess I know you already touched on it too in that moment of them helping your mental health a little bit. But like,
Yeah.
overall, are there any other ways that like you've turned to Newfound Glory besides the show or besides that in your life when you've been going through a tough time?
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, obviously when, there's albums that people relate certain things to. Obviously Sunny with my grandfather. It's like, you have the one friend in a mental health journey. Hopefully people do.
Mhm.
And I would say that if you are listening to this and you feel that you want to have that one friend, reach out to a friend, because I did that myself, and they went above and beyond, and you'll be surprised who will actually reach out for you and help you through anything. But being that we're talking about bands and we're not necessarily in the band, having their music and having the memories that they can bring you, because there are happy times and there's times where there's that old saying, leave your worries at the door. This is your 3 to 4 hours of freedom from anything. That's kind of what this band does when you put on the headphones for me. But the biggest thing are the people that I've met from the band. I would say that's, a big mental health journey on that. I mean, I met you through them, and
Mhm.
we've been friends for pretty much our whole lives, ever
Yeah.
since high school, since I moved to Chicago
Yeah,
after high
20.
school in 2006 or so.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, you
Yeah.
were 6, not 05. Yeah, but I thought we met in 9 at the
Well, I moved
Fusion
there
Tour.
in 05 because it was right after high school,
Got it. Alright, yeah,
September,
yeah.
and then yeah.
Right, whatever,
Anyway,
20 years.
but you make so many friends at shows, and it's a little different nowadays, or it could just be due to my age.
Yeah.
But I always feel like your friends from shows are your best advocates for a lot of things, and that is a big mental health journey, because there are people that I never talk to on a daily basis. But when I see them at New Found Glory shows, it's like one of the coolest things ever.
Mhm.
There's this one girl that I lived in California for 6 years, 7 years or so, and there's this one girl I never would ask to hang out with her, never anything. But when we saw each other at shows, it was like time never changed. It was just so great on that. Which is funny because I actually went to a wrestling show in San Francisco, and happened to run into her in the concourse. And I introduced her as my friend from New Found Glory shows, because at the time I forgot her name.
Yeah.
But, and my buddy Rob, who was with me, that doesn't like punk or anything like that, he's like, oh, yeah, I know that band because of you. It's like you
Mhm.
spread that word. But you think, and it's kind of a full circle thing, where you listen to the music, you listen to certain songs, you listen to moments in songs, and then it brings you the thoughts of the people you meet along the way. And that's when you can start feeling a little better and knowing that things are going to get better and things are going to look up. I mean, this band means so much to me that they're not coming to Portland. They're not coming to Seattle for this tour. So I'm actually going to San Francisco for it. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I bought a ticket. That's future Jason's problem. But it's like, you see these things, and going back to San Francisco, I get to see my friends, see the people I see at Newfound shows. So being in the different situations, that's how they impact you, and that's how they keep you going. And now, especially with like Chad's situation with his cancer diagnosis and getting better, and finding the willpower to keep going, that's another big thing in all of this. We can learn so much from him on that side, and I think it's incredible what that can do. And if you listen to Make the Most of It acoustic album, you hear a lot of that type of stuff too. So yeah, there's so many ways, but it's true. Music is power, and music is wonderful, and I think that's why we all stick together with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about how many people I have met, and specifically New Found Glory. Like, there were people that I have as like literally, it was the Not Without a Fight tour, which I think that's a record that a lot of people slept on. I love that record. I don't care what anyone says, it's so good. But I remember I was in the front row and there was a girl next to me and she was all by herself. And literally we were there, and I was just again, that the day that record came out, I went through a really bad breakup. Again, theme for Newfound Glory and me and breakups. But like I go there and I'm
But you
in.
didn't hate your hometown, did you?
No, I didn't hate my home. Well, I moved from I didn't hate it, but I moved. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
So
that's
maybe.
the other pop punk theme.
Right.
We
So
we hate our towns. Just let's
yeah.
listen to A Day to Remember. They sing about that.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Everyone loves the day to remember. But
Yeah.
we were on Barricade. We just got to talking, and she was like, "Oh man, I really love Newfound Glory. This CD is so great. Like this one hit." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." Like literally the day it came out, I ended my relationship. I got cheated on. I went to Best Buy. I got this CD, put it in my car, and like it's like don't or listen to your friends. Don't let her pull you down. Like all these songs on it. And I'm literally there on Barricade having this like heart to heart with this girl I've never met before. Never
Yeah,
met her. We're having these heart to hearts about our breakups, and we had a very similar story too. And she's in that picture I posted on like our Instagram or whatever, and I laughed like because I've never seen her again, but we had this moment of just we got it. Like we both got it. We both were there when they were singing these songs like Don't Let Her Pull You Down. Obviously, in my case, it was a hymn, but I could sing it and relate to it and just having that experience and with someone next to me I've never met, being able to like share that and her just being like, oh my God. And then like when Chad would go up and like we both got pics, we both got to sing in the mic as they do. And just those moments, like to me, that's newfound glory. Like you were talking, like
yeah,
there's nothing, and that's why for me, this band, I would put him in the tier list above Blink because again, I'm sure people have a story for Blink, but for me, it just is like almost like newfound glory is like family. Like there's so many people that have reached out to me about this episode, like oh my god, newfound glory is the best, newfound glory, because unless you don't really like, sorry, Justine, but unless you don't like pop punk or this type. I don't know. It just it's so special. And I've other than like Circus Survive or maybe brand new, the fans I've met, like Newfound Glory is the most, I guess, the most friends I've gained in crowds that I keep seeing
yeah,
over and over. I would say
yeah.
like 100%. That's that band. And God. I can't believe Chad's gonna go on this tour. I'm so happy for him to be able to do that and have that because it's like you said, like seeing him push on through that. And like I bought that little zine he had out.
Yeah.
And just knowing that he did that with like and how he's pushing fans to like push through stuff and find something creative to do. And I just think that he's just so inspirational. That's why I wanted that VIP. I was like, I just want to see Chad and be like, I feel like they've been in my life a lot longer than a lot of like just regular friends
Yeah.
have
and
been in my life.
and you know, it's just you, like I said before, you meet
Hmm.
people and you never see them, and then you see them at a show, and it's just like the no time has passed. Even people I know that have moved away and I met from shows and stuff like that, I still keep in touch with them. Not as often, obviously, but it's just when we do re-talk, it's usually on like, hey, did you see the new albums coming out? Or, hey, did you see
Hmm.
the tour announcement? It's like things like that you can get excited over. But then you start having those thoughts and you start having the memories come back of when I was at the barricade, when I was
Hmm.
standing in line, when I went to my 100th show. It's
Yeah.
like they always find a way to include
Hmm.
you, the fans, even if like sure, I got pulled up on stage to sing a song with them, but it was I almost asked, would it be okay if I go to the barricade and let other people sing the song with me?
Yeah.
And but then I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get back up on the stage because
Yeah.
I was already out of breath at that
Yeah.
moment.
No.
But it's just like you always just feel part of this family.
Hmm.
When you're at a Newfound Glory show, your family.
There you go.
Yeah. So
No.
it's just, yeah, there's so many things, and we could go on all
Oh
day
my
forever and
God.
ever and ever talking
For,
about them, and I have no issues with that at all.
no, I mean, Newfound, that's why I really wanted to do the episode too. And it was like so many people, I know you were one of them, but people are like, when you're doing Newfound Glory, because like they know, like this has been the band in my life for so long. Like I've just been obsessed with them. I mean, they were one of the first bands when I moved here to New Jersey. I'm like, I need to go see because I was really lonely. I was really just down and out. I have no friends, no family, just out here. But when I went to Starland Ballroom here in New Jersey and I saw them, I was just like it was a weird feeling of like, it's okay. You're okay. Like you're right here. And like,
Makes you feel like you're at home again.
I just literally like started to get like oh, a little tear in my like I
Oh,
legitimately did because like I remember going through a lot of shit and being really sad and just seeing them come on stage and the lights are off and they walk across and I'm just like, oh my, like I'm in the right place, like to
yeah.
be here. And I guess too, like, I know we touched on it a little bit, but how do you think Newfound Glory, it doesn't have to be just be Catalyst because I mean they have their huge catalog, but how do you think they have really impacted pop punk? Like even today, like they're I mean, obviously we talked about the story so far. What else? Who else did they take out?
Wonder
Wonder
Years
Years,
this time next
is it
year.
the
Uh,
Swellers?
yeah, I think they did stuff with Swellers. They did stuff with Lolo. That was
Yeah.
on like a couple tours ago. And that's always kind of a cool thing I've noticed that they do sometimes is that on these like special shows or headline shows, they could bring whoever they want out. And
Mhm.
I say headline shows, but really I don't know any other show that they've opened up for anybody or at least co-headlined with. That's usually their thing now is they
Yeah.
co-headline because I feel like I mean look at how I mentioned about the All American Reject show. I went to like
Yeah.
six of the dates and I left every time after they played.
Yeah.
And there was a tour that they did. I was in California, but they did this tour with I don't even remember, but it was a female led group, and I felt really bad for them, or I felt bad for that group because it was such a crowd dynamic. You had the younger crowd that was very female heavy powerhouse, but then you had all the old farts that came for Newfound Glory,
Mhm.
and you had all grizzly tattooed dudes that you see at their shows, but are the nicest people in the world.
Right.
Newfound Glory played before that other group, and they did the meet and greets. That's like when meet and greets first started coming around,
Right. Yeah.
and you saw the two lines for both. And I just felt bad for that band because Newfound was actually the headliner. Now I'm thinking about it, but no one did anything during the other co-headliner, split headliner. I
Mhm.
felt so bad, and then Newfound came on, and the place just exploded.
Mhm.
So you have situations like that where I don't know if that was a tour of their choice, if that was just something they were meant to be on, but I feel like when it's their tour, they bring out these people that just go on to do so many great things. And they're kind of the godfathers of pop punk.
Yeah.
I think their shirts even joke about it, like the
Mhm.
greatest of all time.
Yes.
They have that song, but they joke that they're the greatest of all time, which I think they are.
Oh,
But
100%.
yeah, but I think it's just you look at a lot of anything that's heavily pop punk, hardcore, pop punk blend. You can tie it to them. I mean, look at like Hit the Lights,
Mhm.
um, great band from Ohio.
Yep.
They they had Newfound Glory influence. Anybody that's pop punk today, you like we mentioned before, All Time Low, back in the day.
Right. No, no.
Yeah, you had a lot of that influence, and you find a lot of like even local bands in different cities, they do covers
Yeah.
of All Downhill from Here, Understatement, My Friends Over You,
Yeah.
all those songs. So I mean, we could go down a list all day and find bands that have influenced them or played with them and
Mhm.
gone on to do great things because Newfound Glory exposes them in a way of showing, check this band out, we think you would like them. And then when you have the headline, co-headlines or headlines with other things, I don't know if this is the way it works, but I always think of like the main two bands, they choose a opener, and then the other band chooses a opener. And sometimes you can get that flow. I mean, I don't know if this is actually how it works, but in my mind, I see it that way because I'm like, I feel like Newfound Glory would never pick that band to come out on the road with them. um I feel like it's the other band to go out with them. Like I remember Real Big Fish and Anti Flag a while ago. And this is the only thing I'll say about Anti Flag due to other things that
Yes.
have gone on recently. But Real Big Fish brought out some ska ballyhoo band, and by all means, fans of this show can get on me about ballyhoo, but I do not like them. I think they're boring. But the other band brought this like skate punk band out with them, and it was such diverse. First band was a skate punk band, second band was ballyhoo, third band was them, fourth band was Real Big Fish. So it's like, that's how I feel that bands for openers get picked. But when it's your only headline show, you're the main band, you're it, you pick everybody that comes out with you. But now they're not picking that popular band anymore. They're picking this band that is
Mhm.
not, no, like Lolo.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her before.
No, no.
Or the amazing girl they had out with on their acoustic tour. Um, she was incredible. And I had never heard of her before. And I had nothing but respect for her afterwards.
Was it Candy Hearts? No,
No.
no. I don't know, but I think I know what you're talking about. I do know. I remember seeing pictures. I remember thinking also as a girl who loves that kind of music to have a band like that take a girl out again, right? And then give them that platform. That's another reason
Leanna
I love.
Firestone.
Oh,
That was her name. She's wonderful. Look her up.
yeah,
She's great.
no. I will. I don't
Um,
know. Maybe I went to that acoustic tour. I don't know. Maybe the one that recently, right? Because they had it
yeah,
was all seating and it was all special. Yeah. So yeah. No. Oh, fantastic.
yeah. I would have never ever listened to her. And
No.
the girl, it was her boyfriend in front of me. We're talking about meeting her after the show, and I'm just casually listening to the people around me, and their conversation was more interesting. So I started listening to her talk, and she was like, "Yeah, we'll meet her after the show. It looks like she drove herself here, like all this stuff." And I
Wow.
was like, "Oh, okay, they're gonna meet with her friends, all that stuff." Oh, they were gonna meet with the opening girl, and I'm just afterwards they left and went to go find her, and I was like, that is awesome. And
Hmm.
then they came back and was like, I saw them bobbing along to Newfound Glory. So, you know you get to a point, I think when you get to a point of being around for over 25 years, you kind of run out of people to take out.
Yeah.
However, you run out of the usual suspects to take out. I mean, they could do tours of Bayside and Wonder Years and all these other
I
bands
mean, they
all the
have,
time,
right? Yeah.
but give other people spotlights, and
Hmm.
give your show more spotlight of these groups, because they're getting that exposure out there, and you're going to get those fans to see them. So yeah, I can go through and make a list of all your people that your question reference, but I feel like we would be here for a 5-6 hour show.
We would, and that's what I think is really cool. Like I, to this day, just think that's so cool about them. And they play with different people, and that even when they did, oh God, is it that EP? It was International
Oh, the
Superheroes of
International
Hardcore.
Super Hardcore,
Yes,
one of the greatest,
I,
bands ever.
I loved that, by the way. And I thought that was so cool because I think some people, even in pop punk, do forget that there's the hardcore element in pop punk. And obviously, Chad coming from Shia Halud and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that was so cool that they did. And they brought, I want to say on that tour, like they brought a hardcore band, or maybe not, but they did stuff that I think too, exposing like these pop punk fans to a different style. Again, although it wasn't maybe an opener, but hey, what is this? Oh, well, this is like totally different, but it's
Well,
Newfound Glory.
they were the greatest openers ever for Newfound Glory.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
come
I mean,
on.
they were
That was, yeah,
superheroes who wear capes.
I loved it. I thought that was so cool. And I, to
Yeah.
this day, I'm like, I think, there's somebody that follows me on Instagram and it's Captain Straight Edge, and I just laugh because I'm like, oh my God, like I need to ask them one day. Maybe I'll ask, maybe they'll listen to this when I post it, because I'm like, there has to be a reference to this. It
Yeah.
has to be. Um, which I love. But I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, we could talk New Found Glory all day, but to kind
Well,
of,
funny to interrupt
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Another funny story about Newfound. They were playing in Atlanta, and going off of earlier where I said they could pick me out of the crowd any day, and I'll do,
Hmm.
I'll play along for all their fun and games because it's the coolest thing. It was straight edge day,
Oh
and
God.
I tweeted Chad that they need to play a cover song of Captain Straight Edge,
Yeah.
because the joke is that International Superheroes of Hardcore are a different band. It's not
Hmm.
Newfound Glory. It's not. I've never
Right.
seen Newfound Glory and ISHC in the same room at the same time.
No.
So yeah, so it's like, who's Spider Man, who is Superman? Back in those days. Well, they pulled someone from the crowd, being me, and they said, "You get to look at our set list, pick any song that's not on the set list, and we'll play it." And I said, "Okay, well, this is a cover." And I don't even think From the Screen to Your Stereo 2 was out. Maybe it was. So they're thinking I'm going to pick something from one of the two cover albums. I said I want to hear a song by the great international superheroes of hardcore celebrating Straight Edge Day, and they all just kind of looked at each other and just started laughing because they go, "We don't really remember how to play that." And I was like, "Well, figure it out. That's my request."
Yeah, figure it out,
They
guys.
ended up playing it, and it was perfect. But it was just so funny, and I asked Chad when they were about to start. I said, "Do you guys need a mask?" And he goes, "No, we're not them." So yeah, it's
No,
like you can be around for 25 some years. You can make fun of yourselves and make fun of everything that's included. Same with Thursday. I just saw Thursday a couple weeks ago, and they were laughing about how they've been together for so long, and they go, "When you're a band like us for so long, you run out of Thursday jokes, so we moved on to Friday."
oh God.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and hear that. They
there
better
was
do
there was a
similar
lot of
jokes.
crickets in the room at the time. No one got the joke, but
Nobody got it.
I started to die laughing because there was
I
only
was
like 75 to 100 people in this big old venues that they
mm-hmm.
played, and so it was just really funny. But
Oh, I love
yeah,
that. I
I
love
just
that.
I thought it was hilarious how I was like, "You guys need masks?" And they're like, "No, that's a different band, man. We don't know what you're talking about. We'll
Yeah,
play the
see?
cover."
They got it going on. I mean, guys, I don't know, like to wrap up our newfound glory because I feel like they're a band I could talk about forever. But I know we touched on Catalyst, but what are those favorite songs? Or you could even like pick a favorite, like your favorite record from them, right? Maybe it's not Catalyst. If you were gonna pick some favorite songs, or I don't know, I just go with a couple favorite records. What do you think? Like if someone,
Well,
well, no, I'm gonna rephrase that. If
all right.
someone's listening to this, because that could be forever, we'd be here forever. But if someone's listening to this and maybe didn't give him a chance for like, oh, I don't like that, or maybe they did and they were like, oh, Jordan's nasally, which whatever, he has a great voice. Get off.
I've never heard it. I've never heard of nasally. Honest to God, I never hear the nasal.
Well,
And
there we go. So maybe
yeah.
I don't know, but like if someone was going to listen to them for the first time, or maybe give them another check out because they're like, all right, maybe I'll give. What would you? Where would you steer them with this band?
Oh, well, that's a loaded question there.
It's
There's
either
there's
one.
so much to choose from, but I would say it can teeter totter by day. I don't want
Yeah.
to say they're tied. These two songs are tied, but I would say majority of the time it would be understatement as number one, forever and ever,
Mm-hmm.
infinity. Number two, like I said, it can teeter totter, but hit or miss.
Yes, a hundred
Yep.
percent.
Those two songs are probably, I want to say, the greatest songs they've made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Stay a While, if you want
Yeah.
to go more newer. Stay a While definitely is a really good one. Overall, if I had to pick an album, I'm gonna go with the tried and true Sticks and Stones. That just it had all the influences. You grow up, getting into hardcore, but sometimes hardcore doesn't do it for you. So you discover pop punk. Newfound Glory was probably my first pop punk band,
Mm-hmm.
maybe other than MXPX, which are another great, amazing band. But yeah, I would say overall, Sticks and Stones is probably one of my favorite. The self-titled album,
Yes.
Boy Crazy, that's a good one. The original, well, I mean, they've also redone Hit or Miss a couple times, but that
Mm-hmm.
original From Nothing Gold Can Stay.
Yes.
um but secretly on the down low, Winter of 95, for some reason, just I love that song. It is so fun to listen to. It's not the greatest by any means, but
Right.
you get that one song that's just out of the blue, and you're just like, I have to hear them play this. So it's like that one song, everyone yells out. I'm just like, play Winter of 95. And they're like,
Yeah.
what? I'm like,
Yeah.
play that
The
really old song. Um, so yeah, I
yeah.
would I would say that, but you touched on it, Not Without a Fight. That's a great album.
It is
Truck
such an
Stop Blues.
underrated record. That and
Yes.
Coming Home. I will fight for Coming Home. I know a lot of people did not like that record. I love that record. I think it's you have Oxygen on that one. You have Hold My Hand on that one. You have oh my gosh, what else? I don't want to forget them. Oh. It's Not Your Fault, that's another one, but
Yep.
also just Coming Home, the title track, like, or
Mhm.
Connected, I don't know, I'll list them all, like, just go check out I think Not Without a Fight was one of those ones too at the time
Yep.
with pop punk that, like, they kinda came back to, like, "No, we're New Found Glory, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, and we're so good at it," and to me, there's no other band that can have that title, like, they are the kings of pop punk,
Well,
and
and
that's it.
also, you say coming back to being newfound glory, there was a time where they had to do that. There
Mhm.
was a moment in, I think, in their careers where they had to look at what was going on and say, we need to go back to who we are.
Mhm.
And I think they tied that really well with the Not Without a Fight album, because I believe that came out after the whole fiasco that happened with the band at one time.
Yes, it did, yeah, so
And so
2009.
I think that really set the bar up for themselves.
Oh,
And but really their discography, there's so much. Even like that B-side I mentioned from Catalyst, it's just everything that they have touched has just been really great. I mean, yeah, sure, radio surgery, it is what it is, but everybody gets one of those.
Exactly. Everybody does, and I think and some bands more than others, but I think they're just so great. I can't wait for this tour. Like I joked on TikTok. I made a reel and I was like, this reel like took off that I was like, they're gonna make all of us 30 somethings get in the pit again, get in the crowd again if you haven't been. Or there's so many people I know that haven't gone to shows in so long are like, we're going to this tour. We're going to
Yeah.
this. We're not missing this. And I think that just says a lot about them. But this literally this has been so great. I'm so excited that I
Yes.
asked you to come on because
Thank
one,
you.
to talk Newfound Glory because, like I said, Justine was like, "No," it was not her thing, but it was like they need an episode and they need to be shown that they're so important, like,
Yeah.
without them just so much in life. I know in your life and my life would be so different, and if they are listening, we love you, and I'll see you in New Jersey, Jason will see you in San Fran, so,
Always like
yeah.
usual.
Yeah, you don't know my
Well,
name, but
thank
you'll see my face.
well, thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to be on here,
Yeah.
and I look forward to all your continued success.
All right, guys, and that was our episode highlighting the one, the only Newfound Glory. Whether you're a new fan, old fan, you never liked Newfound Glory, I hope you found something you enjoyed in this and why they're such an important part of pop punk history, music in general, and so many of us fans that absolutely adore this band. As always, I hope you guys got your tickets to this wonderful tour that they announced because it's really going to be such a special time. Don't sleep on this one, especially if you are a fan of Catalyst. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. As for Justine and I, you can find us on all the socials, all the links below, but we're at stereo period therapy, at stereo.therapy, whatever you want to say. I don't know what to say with that. Come say hi to us. I would love to connect, especially if you loved this episode in Newfound Glory. You know the drill. New episodes every single Tuesday. They go up bright and early. I try to give them up around 6 a.m. But we would love for you guys to check out other conversations we have coming up. We have so many of them, and we're so excited to share those. So you'll hear Justine and I next Tuesday, bright and early, guys. All right, guys. You guys have a great week. Listen to some good music. We will see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.